Greetings and welcome to a brand new episode of Load In, Load Out, a tour story podcast produced here in Athens, Georgia at the state-of-the-art Kindercore vinyl pressing facility. On this episode, we keep it all in the family as brother is pitted versus brother in a frank conversation about hitting the road with kin. Topics of conversation include, but are not limited to, which Philly cheesesteak place tastes like racism? I'm sorry, ma'am, I meant to spit on the blind fella over there. And Cash Carter calls out pointless noise music, jazz, the Myers Briggs personality test, and the almighty herself. Enjoy!
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, wait. What is this? What are we doing today?
What do you mean?
Hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Cash.
And this is
Load In.
Load Out.
Wait, we did it backwards.
So explain the premise of today's weirdness.
So, both Ryan and I have brothers who are in bands and have toured and have, like...
With us.
With us, and we've played together and stuff like that. So we decided to do a podcast where it's us and our brothers.
Us versus our brothers.
Yeah, and also I've talked about Denny a lot, and we've kind of challenged him to come onto the podcast, and he's finally here. I think throughout the entire series, it's been a thing.
A running challenge.
I'm the only listener, that's why.
So, yeah, exactly. You're one of the few confirmed listeners. Like
I'm the only subscribee to your podcast.
I would like to see how many people subscribe to it.
You can see that.
I bet you could do that. That's
I'm sure we
possible.
can, but I don't know where to look at it for.
Analytics.
I don't know where to look for it at. I said look at it for. I don't know.
Yeah. We should pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Nah.
It's sort
not
of
worth it.
You know.
Yeah.
No.
You'd be sorely disappointed.
So anyway.
I've been listening to podcasts, and they always do the click like and comment and blah 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 at the end.
No, you
Every
gotta
one.
start the you gotta have the questionnaire. Please go to
Oh.
loadinloadout.com/user.
Yeah.
Fill out this survey so we can get better ads.
And then we
Yeah,
could
it's
start
a good
doing
idea.
Dollar Shave Club commercials.
Yeah.
Or Squarespace commercials.
But we never.
Where people also, like, if you share it or review it, they could win a T-shirt.
We could do that.
If you share
you
it
guys are slacking.
or review it, you will win a T-shirt.
What T-shirt?
You will.
Just
Will
any
win.
T-shirt. Whatever T-shirt's in my closet.
I didn't
that
ask
that
you
I'm
what.
not-
Tell you what to share. Or what T-shirt you get.
Yeah, just a random
Yeah.
T-shirt I have in my closet I don't wear anymore. Like, you'll get one of these. You get like a plain white T-shirt
There's
with pit
probably some
stains on
people
it.
that would want
It's gonna be a cadet shirt. Let's not lie.
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
probably a
like
closet full of
Cash
them.
I don't
totally-
have anymore.
Yeah,
I have a bunch
sure.
of Harmonious Fist T-shirts.
Oh,
Well,
let's not talk about that.
I have an idea. Let's introduce everybody.
Oh yeah,
So this isn't a video podcast, so no one knows who's here.
right.
Hey, who's that across from me diagonally? My relation. Who are you?
Hey, can I talk now?
Please.
Sometimes in podcasts you can't talk until you're introduced.
Oh,
But,
right.
yeah.
That's true. That is a conceit.
But
of some
I'm Matt.
podcasts.
I'm Ryan's brother.
Matt Lewis.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've played in a few bands with and without Ryan. Let's see. We
He's
were
done
in
it all.
Grape Soda together.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
played
agenda together.
The Agenda. That's right.
Yeah. The buddy system.
Buddy System.
That's another one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were in Pocket Rockets.
I was. Yeah. Back in
wasn't.
high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which I'm not sure if we've ever talked about this on the podcast, but so at separate times I had met Matt and I had met Ryan back on the road and didn't realize it even after I met them both back here in Athens until we started talking about things, and I had actually met Matt while you were in high school in Pocket Rockets because you were on Teen Beat and the band I was in, Tracy Shebb, was on Teen Beat Records, and they used to do these Teen Beat banquet things every year.
Yeah.
Where all the bands would get together in D.C., play the Galaxy Hut, and then what was the name of the Chinese restaurant we always went to?
I don't remember, but they were like one of those classic Chinese restaurants where they had like the volcano drinks.
I could do a whole podcast about the death of those places.
Yeah.
But Denny, as our only listener, can you confirm that that exact exchange happened when we did the Agenda episode?
Yes, it's happened multiple times.
I thought so. Like,
Was
I
that
thought,
part of the
I was like, am
Agenda
I having a
episode?
flashback?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember being on the agenda.
That
episode.
exact same.
I
that
thought it
exact
was
same
just you
story.
guys in the
No,
agenda
it
episode.
was-
I thought I was absent. It was just you guys.
That was a
Ryan's
two-part
racking his brain,
episode.
like, I'm sure I've heard this story before.
I mean, I know I've heard it before, but have I heard it in front of microphones? I
I've
think
heard
I
it,
had.
so I'm sure I've heard it on the podcast.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's like a little greatest hits.
No, I wasn't part of the agenda.
That's like
episode.
when a band comes on and stage and plays. There were 2 agenda episodes, yeah. But it's like, you know, when a band comes on stage and they play their hit. Like, you guys just played your hit. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
let's keep it rolling. Who's the next person next to Matt?
So I have to do a bio. I'm Denny. I'm Kasha's older brother.
Yeah.
It was
Most
last
people.
night.
Excuse me.
Last night, someone who was Justin
Thought we were twins.
thought we were twins.
Which is like a huge coup for me because Cash has always been the more attractive brother. So as we age, it's really bad for Cash because now he is dropped to my level.
Fist fight tonight! Fist fight tonight! Fist fight tonight! Fist fight tonight!
And we were in the Standards together, which was like a cover band. Everybody in town. It was like a kind of a
Like a jazz standards?
total jazz standards.
Okay. Like a big band? Because you
We
said everybody in
basically-
town was in it. So
I think that What a Way to Die, the CD comp that we had, it's in 2 records if it's LP comp. I think we basically just covered that entire comp.
Yeah, we
That was
covered a lot of
basically-
those things. And then then Cash eventually joined the Harmonious Fist, which was my competing band to Cash's band back when we were in high school. He had the Cadets and I had the Harmonious Fist, which eventually basically became the same band. Like the Cadets stole all of our members except for me. and then because Chad
Didn't you guys steal all of our members?
No, Chad and Isaac
Oh.
started with me. And then eventually, as everybody abandoned you, you guys just adopted.
as
Chad
everyone
and
abandoned
Isaac.
you. I heard
Who?
that. So much
Well,
shade.
I guess first it was Mark Capon left,
Yeah, and
then we got
Chad joined.
Chad. Did Chad join before Isaac?
I don't
That's-
know. I tried not to pay attention
And then
to you guys.
Pete Cochran left.
But you were competing against them.
Yeah, we were competing
But
against
not paying
them.
attention, though.
Well, I was like trying to keep them away. You know, it's like that love-hate thing.
Yeah.
Because Cash was asking me last night
Brother
if I remember
against
these
brother.
shows that I went to with the cadets, and there were a time period where I was definitely not going to cadet shows.
You just did.
What shows? What were we talking about last night?
We were talking about when you guys played with Death Cab and when you guys
yeah,
played
yeah.
with Rilo Kiley.
Yes.
Like I didn't go to
Oh.
those shows because I did not like the direction you guys were going in, and
I don't
was-
want. This is the first time you ever
You're
said
like, I
this to
can't
me.
endorse this. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't show my
This is the
support.
first time I've ever
Wow.
I've heard of this.
You know that. You
What
know,
was
No,
the
I
direction
don't.
they were going in?
they became like
It's like prog.
like what we were like they were like an indie prog band.
What?
Like the songs are all super long.
That's not
And they
true.
had like theories like this song, it's an instrumental song, but it's about a race to the top of a mountain.
No,
And the
it's a
volcano
no.
explodes.
So it's like high
it's a race.
concept.
It's a race. It's a race down a volcano.
Halfway through the song, there's a volcano explosion. See if you can pick out where it's at.
Yeah, and we didn't say it on stage.
No, but they had it in their head, which was bad enough.
It's a race down a volcano, racing away from the lava.
yeah.
yeah, see-
Hello.
see?
Wait. Down. Oh,
This is
down the
true.
outside of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
De Laguna 500 is
See?
the name of the song. That's that's actually a specific song.
So
Well,
beyond
you're proving
beyond the
his
bands
point.
with Cash, I've had some like garage mod bands like Monarchy 5, and then I play in a band called the Delusionaires. It's kind of based out of Atlanta. Still don't claim them as my band. I'm like Ron Wood. I'm like the new member, and I've been in the band for over 10 years. You know,
Yeah.
you know, like Ron Wood's been in the Rolling Stone for like 25 years, and
At least, Jesus, probably like 35.
yeah, and
45.
he's the new guy.
Yeah.
They were my favorite band, and the drummer was in a horrible motorcycle
Motorcycle,
accident.
yeah.
So I was able to take his place.
Wow.
And then I play in the Mondellos, and then I play in a new band called Mercy Mercy, and then between I had a band called Little Sheep and the Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
They're still going.
You also
Man.
played in a different band in Tampa, right? When you were in Tampa.
I played in a couple that I would not like to claim. Yeah,
oh,
okay.
no,
That's
not
your
really.
Tampa death metal.
I kind of forget. You know,
Wasn't
you guys
there
know how
one
it is.
with Gino and the Goons guys or something?
I played with Gino and the Goons a little bit. I was a goon for like one show.
It's actually a good band. I think you'd like them.
Is it?
Are they
Yeah.
from New Jersey?
No.
They were. I mean,
Yeah.
he's originally from like the New Jersey-ish area.
Yeah.
Knew it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
great, like Ramones style.
I'm a fan of
like,
his pizza places.
Is there a pizza place called Gino's?
There's like
I thought that
700
was. I
pizza
thought that
places
was
called
Philadelphia,
Gino's in New York.
I thought that was like Philly cheesesteak place. It's called
There is.
Gino's.
Oh yeah, no, there are. That's yeah.
Is that
yeah.
the racist cheesesteak place?
Aren't
Oh.
they all?
Or the less
I mean,
racist?
This is not a requirement to become a
Yeah,
cheesesteak.
the more or less racist.
Cheesesteak, the food of racists. The official food of racists.
Oh man, no, that's Papa John's Pizza. Remember, like the racists were saying.
That's
that.
a very timely
Oh,
joke
yeah.
you just made.
I did. Yeah.
What?
Nobody
Me
else is
or
on
him?
time with me.
That one.
Oh, the Papa
Yeah,
John's.
Papa
Papa John's used
Papa
the
John just got
N-word.
booted.
Like if
Papa John himself used the N-word.
But this was after he got kicked out as CEO because he had said that the players kneeling for football was
Yeah.
hurting pizza sales, and so then like
Then
the
he was just the
alt-right
chairman.
put out things. Then yeah, exactly. I'll
I
say
like
pizza's
Papa
bad.
John's pizza.
I mean, but it's pizza. I mean, like, is there
Yes.
such a thing as bad pizza?
Anyone who enjoys their
No.
pizza is racist, but the transitive properties of
No,
racism.
Papa John's, man. That garlic sauce.
Oh, jeez.
Come on.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't care.
as much as I would
like
love, as much as I would love to host a podcast about pizza, and believe me, I would.
That's not a bad idea.
Pizza
Domino's? Wait, no,
Guys.
wait.
Pizza cast.
We're going. You're dissing
It's a
Papa
pizza
John's
off.
for Domino's.
Oh man, man.
Like, if you went
Domino's
some other
Brooklyn
way.
style is. Oh
if you
no,
went
we're
another
going all
place
in.
like Automatic or something, like okay,
Every
but
week
Domino's.
you have a
That's like
Domino's versus-
saying like, man, whatever. What are you talking about? Pizza Hut's the best pizza.
dude. Chuck E. Cheese is the best pizza.
It is better now than it used to be, though. Chuck E. Cheese pizza has improved. I don't know if you're
I've
aware
not
of
been.
I remember the breadsticks were good.
that. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It used to taste like sugar, but it's better now.
Nothing compares to. There was a
you.
place out in
We're
California
continuing
called
this pizza place.
what? The Round Table Pizza.
yeah,
the
Round
ultimate
Table.
That was really
The
good.
derailer saved his ultimate derailment for when you got here, and it actually worked. Like he derailed it with pizza, and we actually started a pizza podcast.
Was that my? Did I derail the pizza thing? Did I bring it up? I don't think I did.
Somebody roll back the tape. Let's check with the ump.
We've checked.
Or the ref. The ref. With the ump.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Someone brought up
Anyway,
Tito's pizza.
so what's it like to be in a band with your brother? That you're not in a band with your brother anymore, but what was it?
No, we are.
am.
We're still in
we
Harmonious
do
Oh, what's it
Harmonious
like to
Fist.
be in-
It's not really a band though. It's more of a
Social movement.
experience, performance art. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you know, Cash and I have not always gotten along, but since
I
we've
think there
been
was
adults-
one time we got into a fight where I punched you in the face, but that was
Yeah,
like when we were like.
you broke the brother code, man.
Whoa. But that was when we were, like,
We've never
10.
punched each other.
That's when I was
I
like
don't think
10.
I
We
mean,
also
you can
didn't
punch
grow
each
up
other in the
with each other,
stomach,
so there's
or
that.
in the arm or something. But Cash broke the rule. Like I thought it was like an unstated rule: you don't hit your brother in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed to
Apparently
state
was
it.
Yeah.
Well, that was it though. That was like when I was like 10, and then
Yeah,
that
we were
was
like
it.
10, 11.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
we've gotten along since then.
yeah.
Yeah, but we always got along throughout high school and everything. But so being in a band with him is just like is easy for me, right? Because it's almost like just an extension of yourself because you almost think the same. I don't know
Right.
if you guys are the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
Like if-
It is sort of a lot.
How far
like
apart are
that
you
for
guys?
us. Well, we're 9 years apart.
Oh,
so
wow.
there was no.
and we
there
also
was-
didn't grow up in the same house. We're half
Oh,
brothers,
yeah.
and I grew up
Okay.
with my mom's family, and he grew up with.
So how did that
Dad's
work?
family.
How did you guys end up being into the same stuff?
Because we saw each other and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Like,
like-
and you go. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not going to talk over you. I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't,
yeah. So we never really had to deal with any of this stuff until we started working together.
The whole like getting along your whole lives is changing now that we all
yeah,
work,
yeah.
we
Now
work
that
together.
we're all over 30, it's all downhill. But yeah, the age difference was wide enough that there was never any like question of punching in the face because
Yeah,
like
he
a
couldn't reach
15-year-old
mine.
is not going to punch a 6-year-old in the face.
at least the 6-year-old would. At least the 6-year-old wouldn't remember it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's sort of the standard case of having the cool older sibling who gets into cool music before you do. So I would always have access to like the indie rock thread of music, even when I was like listening to punk and playing in like DIY punk bands and things like that, or anything else. There was always that thread, which was cool.
And like you got me into stuff too because you were growing up outside DC and playing with bands there and stuff like that. And
so we pretty much just breathed Discord records, nonstop. And it's been pretty cool. We sort of have a lot of the same musical interests, so that makes it pretty easy.
I mean, for Cash and I think we found things at the same time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like, I was older, but I wasn't, obviously not that much older. So I think we like found stuff like at the same time. But we didn't go to high school together, even though we were close. Because I went to the academic magnet, Cash went to the arts magnet, which
Stanton
were like
college preparatory.
It's like these
and Douglas Anderson School of the Arts.
In Jacksonville, it's a huge town, like 800 square miles, and there were two magnet schools. So like they basically like bastardized all the local high schools for everything that would be good.
Took all the
in a
good
local
stuff
high school.
out of
like
it.
All the academically great kids would go to the academic magnet. So all that was gone from the local high schools, and all the great kids at art, they took that away and put that in the art school. So I don't know what local high school was like in
Bunch
Jacksonville.
of bullies and jocks.
But like
Pretty much.
they bust us. Yeah. I would have been beat up every day in high school.
Yeah, we would have gone to Inglewood.
But I was never. I was kind of, I don't know if I was popular, but I thought I was popular,
I think in both those
Once
schools...
he punched you in the face. I mean,
that was all taken care of.
Yeah.
I think in both those schools there weren't really popular people and there weren't really unpopular people.
Yeah, it was just...
That has to be a fantasy.
Because there was like these...
There's no way that's true.
It was like
it's
the 5
absolutely
to 10% of the regular high school that would get picked on were taken away, So like... but the cool thing is those schools weren't even... they weren't close to each other at all. But those kids all hung out with each other. So Cash was like embedded in the art school for me to make all my friends at art school, and I was embedded at the academic school.
Yeah, half of the cadets were from Stanton.
Yeah, and
in his band that you stole them from.
And then, well,
Right.
Actually, not those two, yeah.
Isaac was at DA.
Yeah, Isaac, who you got for your band, was at DA.
Yeah. Chad was at Stanton with me.
Yeah.
So like, there's this like in Jacksonville, at least of our age group, right? Our generation. Like everything, we feel like this connection that these people in other cities, like, it's like all this came from Jacksonville. You go to another city and you're like, oh, something cool's happening. There's a Jacksonville person involved. But it would probably be that way for normal people if they knew the coolest people, in their mind, the coolest people in town, right? Because like all the art school kids went to the art school. So if there's something going on where there's like a famous actor in another place, they went to DA. So like he knew them, even though he wouldn't normally know them,
Right.
So like we know all these people that were doing art stuff and doing like really cool stuff.
I mean,
and
So
it
all
was
those
real-
times on the podcast where you've been like, I actually know them because blah, blah, blah. Denny's just proving that is actually true.
Yeah.
That is one of the true stories. I mean,
That's
there's a
one
lot
of
of
the-
fake stories,
Exactly.
which we talked about last night.
Did you?
Yeah,
On
yeah.
the podcast?
No. Oh yeah, there's a lot
You
of
wanna-
fake stories on the podcast.
Fact check some previous.
No.
No.
The Cadets podcast is really enlightening though because Isaac gets a lot of stuff completely wrong, and it's funny because he's challenging Cash.
Oh, yeah.
and saying Cash is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
They're both wrong. Like
Yeah.
Isaac,
Yeah.
Isaac is like,
I was wondering if that might have been the case.
yeah. So like, there are times Cash and I talked about it. There are times where it's like, you become the protagonist of your own story, right? Like you remember things. There's that's a whole theory like where you remember things where you're the hero,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of times that happens in Cash's stories.
I think that happens in everybody's stories.
But they're not untrue stories. They just might not be, exactly as
Matter
he
of
remembers
perspective.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that I've told that was categorically false. Anything
I hope not.
that it didn't happen that way. I thought it happened that way and was later told that it didn't. So, but it's like 90 to 95% true. It just might not have been me who did the things that happened.
yeah, there you
It
go.
might have been someone else who was with me who did the thing that I thought I did in that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
this is
definitely say
interesting.
that the agenda tour that was 2.5 months long with a 1 week break in the middle has at various points in time been 3 months.
I think I always say it's 3 months,
4
right?
months.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
I think
in
I've
a
said
couple-
3 and 3.5 months.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. I think
It felt like 3.5
it's,
months.
it's
I'm
funny
sure.
like 3.5
actually
years.
as time progresses, I think the number actually gets more accurate.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
like I think once we came off of that tour, it was like that was a nightmare. It
Yeah.
was half a year long.
Exactly.
We
That's the only
almost
thing I've ever
died
done with my
every
life.
night.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, contained
Yeah.
kernels of
So
truth.
what was the
Yeah.
impetus of this tour? Because we hear a lot about this tour. Like, whose mind was it? It's like, let's go on the road for 2 months.
Our
Like somebody
booking
come off
agent.
a bad breakup or something. and
Yeah.
think this was a great
Me
idea.
too. Yeah. I mean, my previous band, The Four Corners,
Yeah.
where the singer and I had been together, and we had made an album, and we had like
Great album.
spent all this time working on it and doing all this stuff, and then it famously, or not famously, as it turned out, came out on September 11th, 2001. And so it was
Yeah.
buried along with everything else that came out then. And we were on tour then and supposed to
Right.
play in DC. So, you know, like whatever, it was, that band was cursed and we broke up. And soon after, it was like I wanted to do something immediately, and the agenda started really fast.
And you came home from that breakup and was like, I've got nothing here to keep me in this town and nothing to do. And
It was more like I really was going to try to do something with the band because I was tired of like doing stuff for other people's bands, like running the label. I mean, I wasn't tired of it, but like I felt like I deserved to do it for myself for once. So I was just like, well, the Four Corners, we got all the way up to making the record and it going out and getting some good reviews. And then all of a sudden it just
died.
In ancient times, there was water, there was sky. The land was apart and formed an ocean, so why can't we? If it's not the way we thought it was, I don't know how it is.
So with the agenda, everything started out super fast. Like we went and we wrote all the songs in a couple of weeks, recorded the record in a day and a half, recorded and mixed it at Chase Park, and then like released it right away. But we had the booking agent that the Four Corners had, and he was interested in making some money.
Yeah.
Because the Four Corners didn't. And so I think it was kind of like, all right, let's do this. And he was like, I can get you this tour and you can do. And as a label person, I'd been telling every band, like, you have
Just
to stay on the
freaking
road.
get on the road.
You have
Just
to
get
stay
on
on
the
the road. So it was like, okay, we're going to do that. You know?
So you were like you were thinking like all the problems that you saw in the bands you had been working with. You're like, I know how to do this.
I'm just
better.
gonna do all
and
the
then
other-
You
yeah.
did that, and you were like, holy cow, I want to kill myself.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, but I mean, it was also, I mean, was it not? I mean, it was also pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, well
Certainly in retrospect, more so than at the time, probably.
And,
but
and I know I said this in the agenda episode, but I remember at the time, I think it was like we were in the middle of either Illinois or Wisconsin, and we were driving through the night from a venue to the next town, and it was raining, and like I was in the back sort of trying to plug leaks along the seams of the van.
Of course,
like,
of
with
course.
duct tape.
yeah,
Like all of our
This is why we
stuff was
still
getting
had Dwayne.
soaking wet
yeah.
and all this. And once we finally got to where we were staying, you had said like, it's never this bad. I don't know why this
Oh,
tour
yeah.
is this bad. It's not supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
the time, I mean, that was my first long.
Were you like 18?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was 18, and this was like my first long tour. Like I'd gone out on the road for like, you know, maybe a week at most before, but this was the first long one, and to me it was like, well, this is fine. This is
Yeah.
Well,
this is what it is.
You know, that's funny. There are now like movies and things that get it right
Yeah.
about this. Like for the longest time, it was
Green
all
Room.
like, what's that?
Green Room.
I've not
Yes.
seen Green Room.
Oh,
But
Yeah, you
But
should.
like I watched a movie the other night called Hardcore Logo, And hardcore logo is totally like that. Like to the point where like a guy's in the back and he steps in the van the wrong way and his foot goes through the van.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
like it's and you know, like there are some, because you know the only thing we had was Spinal Tap and it was a huge joke.
Yeah.
But even Spinal Tap doesn't get into that weird like minutia of like things that actually happen
Yeah.
in a tour. And then the other one is like Frank. If you've seen Frank, is like that.
Is that?
That's the one where the guy wears the mask on
Oh,
his head.
yeah. I
That-
had not
just
seen
like
it,
the weirdness of like all the mental issues that your bandmates have
Yeah.
on tour. And
That was the Agenda's big thing.
Oh yeah.
That was really the place where we just laid down and rolled around.
Well-
Everybody's mental illness.
It's one of those things where you know a friend really, really well, right? Like you might know them
No,
for 10
you
years,
don't know them
but
well.
when you
don't
go
know.
on the road and you have to sleep in the same place with them, and so you know their little quirks about how they have to sleep, and like they have to have this certain
Or how
pillow,
much they fart in your
or
case.
how much they fart in their sleep, or like
Or while they're
you
awake.
start to realize how they. What'd you say?
I said, or while they're awake. No reason to
Yeah.
limit it to them
I
being
mean,
asleep.
I like punctuating my sentences with farts, but you never, like these little tiny quirks that you would never know. You would never have a reason to know that about them until you're in a fucking van. There's a Smog song called Four Hearts in a Can, and that's what it is. It's like you're in this fucking tin can and you're barreling through the country, you know? And that's when you get these tiny little quirks about the people you're around. Right. And that's why the bands who are successful and can do it grow so close, and it's almost like a marriage. And they get so good at what they do because like you probably know more about this person than their spouses do or their siblings do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially if it's two siblings doing it.
Yeah.
You know. Then it's
That's
crazy.
probably true.
I mean, Cash and I are also weird because we have this weird split family. Like our family, I mean, not meaning that our parents were split, but which they are now. But like we have two older sisters who are about 2 years apart, and then there's like a 6 or 7 year gap, and then there's Cash and I. And so like we were this little
Held under the thumbs of your older sisters.
Yeah, we totally were, but we were also like this little like island in the family because like everyone else in our family is super conservative.
Yeah.
Everybody else in our family is into a completely different type of music.
And no one else plays music.
Nobody else has ever played
Like
music.
no cousins, no aunts, no uncles, no
Yeah.
anybody.
So like we're in this like totally weird thing, and so we kind of had that all along.
Yeah.
Like we had that. It's just the two of us, you know. So like when we were in high school, we'd drive to Gainesville or whatever, go to a show. We shared a room up until we were in high school, and we were always together. And so like now when we're not together, I mean we talk like every day, probably,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
Do you feel each other's like when he burns himself?
We,
here
we,
at
we
work,
joke,
do
we
you feel
joke
it?
about being
Yeah.
the Corsican brothers all the time because Denny will call me and he's like, "Hey, I'm listening to this album." Like I'm listening to the same fucking album, like right at the same time. Where he's like, "I was watching this movie last night." I was like, "I watched that last night too." Like it
That's
happens
weird.
all the
That's
fucking
just because
time.
you share the same Voodoo account. You're just watching for the same movies. I also watch the same movies as you guys because I share it with you.
it's like, oh, Cash bought a new movie.
Yeah, exactly. Up time for us all to watch it. But yeah.
But we do have, you know, it's like if anybody knows me, I'm the least spiritual person you could ever possibly meet. Like I kind of hate New Age stuff and like don't believe in
says
astrology.
he's wearing
or-
crystals
Yeah,
right now.
don't believe in astrology or the Myers Briggs and none of that bullshit. But I will say, Denny and I do have a. Well, what are you laughing about?
He lumped
Just how angry you are about it.
He lumped, but he lumped. I don't believe in God
Psychology.
or the Myers-Briggs test.
Yeah,
It's like
I don't believe in God or psychology.
no, it's not. It's a bunch of bullshit.
We're gonna get some write-ins on that one, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
God, Myers-Briggs, those guys all suck. Lewis and Clark, those guys too. I hate those guys.
Boy, this is like
Myers-Briggs is a bunch of bullshit.
this is
It's
like
not
all
true.
of Cash's pent up internet arguments just finally unleashing themselves.
You want to get into GMOs? We can get into GMOs.
No, we don't. I'll leave.
Monsanto,
Okay,
that guy
leave.
rules. God sucks.
Yeah.
Kill them all. Let Monsanto sort them out.
But there is this weird connection between Denny and I. Like it's weird. It's like I know when he's upset. He knows when I like even like across the country.
Yeah.
It's real weird.
That is real weird.
Real weird.
I'm uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
How are
We're
you
like
guys feeling
Station,
right
you
now?
know, from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah, station.
Oh, yeah.
Station.
So when you guys are on stage together, is there is that connection there too? Is it different than playing with other people?
It's like on
what
stage,
do you think?
they can't pick up
What
on
do
each
you
other
think?
at all.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, singing together is way easier.
'Cause we
You know,
sound very similar.
Like, I don't know if do you guys sing together in your band? Like, do you guys?
Not really.
So
No.
singing together is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Not only because we have similar voices, but I think because like just naturally you get
Well-
to the same place, which you build with a band over time. Like
Sure.
right, like the whole like harmonizing in bands is way easier when you've been a band for 3 years than it is when you've been a band for 2 months.
And also,
It's
you
also
guys were
easier when
listening
you
to
can
the same
sing.
music,
Yeah.
learning how to sing
Yes.
from the same sources.
Yeah.
Well, Denny's also the only drummer that I've played that I've been in a band with where I'm not playing drums. So, like,
Yeah, that's true.
That's a weird
And we
thing,
play
too.
drums very differently.
yeah.
Like I'm more of a like straight ahead drummer. Like we were
And I've
talking-
become more of a straight ahead drummer. I didn't used to be that way.
Well,
though.
I don't know who I was talking to the other night. I was like, it'd be interesting because there are bands that have 2 drummers. Like I remember seeing Mike Watt with 2 drummers, and the cool thing when usually 2 drummers, like the Grateful Dead version of the 2 drummers, is they're playing the exact same thing, which sucks. But yeah. It's real weird, right? But when there are 2 drummers that are playing different things, that is cool. And like I was like, we could be in a band with Cash. What's that? Allman Brothers? Yeah.
Or Pavement.
Pavement. I think like there's there's some current bands. Somebody told me their names. That's the band that the drummers are pretty different. They said, but like I could be like, and Cash is going, blah, 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 and it's like just stop playing a drum solo the entire song, And
That's how I used to
Yeah.
be. I'm more of a straightforward drummer. Like I've become more like you over the years.
The
Alex just did a spit take.
I've become more like you.
Alex just threw up all over himself. Yeah, you shouldn't have had that third Coke, man.
but that's really the journey that all drummers take, right? From being busier to learning to show more restraint. I know
I've
that
been
was
No,
opposite.
Denny's gotten
I've-
busier as he's gotten
I've gotten
older.
busier.
Oh, yeah?
But mine is technicality because like I never wanted to be in a band until I could sing, and a lot of my bands, especially early bands, I did most of the singing, and it's really hard to be busy and sing at the same time. It's like you could do like the Levon Helm, right? You're like verse, 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 verse. Oh, now I can roll verse, 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 verse,
Yeah,
verse,
yeah.
and like every band song that Levon Helms is like that. But like as I've gotten into bands where I don't have to do a majority of the singing, I can get busier. But it also means that I never tried to be a showy drummer because I couldn't be. That's the 16-year-old kid's always like super showy drummer, and he can't be.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I started out super simple because I didn't start playing drums until I needed to play drums in a band. Like suddenly
too.
there was a band that needed a drummer, and I was like, well, I guess I should learn how to play the drums. And so then I just started with just a kick drum and a snare, and hi-hats and a ride, and then added a floor tom, and then 2 bands later added a rack tom.
The other thing is I've never been in a band that we didn't have a show before we had a band. We've always had a show set up.
and then the band started
the
around
band started
get into
filled
that.
the slot in the show.
Oh, that's my nightmare scenario.
Yeah,
It's like every. well, keep in mind I have the Delusionaires have been a band for like 20 years, and I've been playing with them for over 10. We
Never
practice. Like the last time we practiced was when we recorded our album, and
Oh, wow.
that was our practice. We recorded the album in about 2 hours. And there's 3 songs on that album that we'd never played before we recorded them. And then pretty frequently at shows, we play 3 or 4 songs that we've never played before. And it's like some of them are just completely made up on the spot. Some of them are covers that nobody's ever actually bothered to learn. And it just somebody calls it out and we do it, But those guys have been playing together for 20 years and I've been there for a long time. So it either falls apart or it doesn't. And when it falls apart, it's probably better than when it doesn't.
Yeah.
But then the Mondellos are the same way. We never practice. We just play shows.
You have never actually practiced with Mondellos, right?
We practiced like 10, 15 years ago. So
they're good.
Yeah. No, they are.
They did it once.
it
They practiced
spoils
10 or
you. It
15
spoils
years
you
ago.
in being a band.
I didn't mean like I was saying you weren't good. I meant like you're done practicing because you did it once 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. But it spoils you being in a band like that. Jazz musicians playing has got to be like a complete drug because you don't have to do any of the hard parts of being in a band. You just show up. You're like, I've never met this guy before.
Yeah.
Yep. And goodbye forever.
Yeah,
It
and I'll never
sounds
have
like
to
it.
deal with you again if I don't want to.
Yeah, that's man.
Smaller kits.
I got no time for jazz.
Yeah, I'm not a big jazz fan either. I get a lot of shit from my fellow musicians who like music, which I guess all musicians.
I can't get into it.
But
My fellow musicians who play music and like music.
so not all musicians like music. That's true. What's his name? That drummer who hates everybody? Alex Scarborough. That's him.
No, you're thinking of the guy from Cream.
Yeah.
Ginger Baker.
Ginger Baker, yeah.
That's a great documentary.
Yes, the Ginger Baker documentary is super good.
I just lost my train of thought. I have no idea where I was going.
Shocked.
We were talking about jazz. So
I
you're
don't like
still
jazz.
on. Yeah.
I don't like jazz, and I get people like, you don't like jazz? I'm like, no, I don't like jazz. I like some jazz, like vocal jazz, like
What's vocal jazz?
like Dottie Wilder, what she does, like where it's kind of like Ella Fitzgerald type
Like,
stuff, like Greg Robbins.
Greg
Yeah,
Robbins,
we just
yeah.
pressed.
Yeah.
I realized that the only kind of jazz that I like is, I guess, in the '60s, what was called modern jazz that like mod kids listen to, like Dave Brubeck and shit like that. Which,
Hammond groove music.
Yeah, like I can get into that stuff.
Yeah, like
you know.
that, but like,
I like Dixieland jazz.
but
There's
like
a saxophone on it. You can leave it in the car.
Yeah, but like all like
It's like you're into Fear.
all like the like crazy like horns like I'm like, man, fucking
Yeah.
leave that shit at home.
Yeah.
I'm more
If I wanna be
like the
scared, I'd
jazz
go to a
that
horror
comes
movie.
closer
Yeah.
to the, like noise and experimental zone. That's
I mean,
sorta,
And
like
again,
Sonny
I get
Chirac.
I'm not going to be popular for saying this. I don't like noise music either. I don't get it. I mean,
it's
I like
required,
I like
Lost your
boredoms.
popularity card.
I like
like-
some noise in my music.
Yeah,
But
I like
Nothing.
boredoms.
Ginger Baker.
Yeah, I like boredoms, and I like noise music that has something to it. But like someone just getting up on stage and like banging on a cymbal for a half an hour or something.
well, yeah, that's
Well, that's not
That's
noise
garbage.
music though. That's like people that are. See, I think noise music has two groups. Like, there's like people that can play noise music.
Yeah, I
and
like
there's
that.
people that are like, hey, It's like the different. There's. I don't know how to describe it, but like artists are this way too, right? Like there's like Picasso who, if he wanted to paint something realistic, he can, but he chose to do cubism and things. And then there's musicians who like. I bought the synthesizer, bam, boom, beam, boom, beam, boom, boom, and you're like, you don't really know how to play that. You're just making noise, and then your playing noise is different, right?
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
I see all these people up on stage. I want to do that, except for I don't want to take the time to have the discipline to learn how to do it.
I'm gonna paint my face.
Right.
I'm gonna paint my face and do something weird with my hair, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Right. Right.
hit the keyboard with my penis a couple of times.
Right.
oh man, not here.
where was this?
You guys haven't been going to the same shows I have.
Yeah, Jacksonville is a hell of a town.
Here?
Although, like,
Yeah.
so I saw the Masada, John Zorn do the Masada.
Oh, wow.
It's freaking amazing!
Yeah.
Like, that's noise.
Yeah.
and
No, I mean,
that's-
what I mean is like hard experimental noise
Yeah.
stuff,
like
I just-
Merzbow, like you're not gonna want to put on a Merz box
or
set.
Wolf Eyes or something,
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, the guys from Wolf Eyes are actually really nice. So I used to.
Oh yeah, you got to couch it with that. I hate your band. You guys are really nice guys.
They're nice guys, but the old
a
record
kiss of
store.
death, right?
My partner at the record store was really into that kind of noise, and so we'd put on noise festivals at the record store, and I hated them. But the guys from Wolf Eyes came by one time and were very nice.
When you get off stage after playing, and like the band is like, "Oh, you guys are
Nice guys.
Yeah. Trying to remember, there's the noise band that I was friends with one of the guys from when I lived in New York, and I went to see them once, and it was like actually like a horror movie. Like we went into this giant loft that was open, and like everybody's stuff was everywhere, and then they turned Black Dice, and they turned the lights off and started screaming, and then all of a sudden people started getting hit with the microphone because the singer was throwing the microphone in the dark. And so people were actually like, people were like, ow! Fall down, and like people were like running, so like the crowd like pushed out, but there were no lights on anywhere. Like they had turned the power over all the lights. There were no like emergency lights. So like you could see a little light coming in from the windows outside, like because it was a loft in like Williamsburg or something. And it was seriously honestly, it was like a horror movie.
See, I get into
It
that.
was really like a horror movie. It was like, oh, my anxiety went through the roof, and I was like, I have to get out of here right now.
That
Like I was
sounds
I told the people I was with, I was like, I gotta leave. I have to go right now.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
that this was like late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, so it was probably like 99 or so. Yeah,
so
because
this was like the prime.
they used to hang out in the record store, Rocks in Your Head, that I worked at, and they were really nice. And they were like, "Come see our band," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds great." Then I was like, "Oh no, I have to go right now." I was like, "Oh my god, this is a fucking nightmare."
That sounds like a great show. Though.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I just got freaked out again thinking about it. Like it just brought me back to like that anxiety. Yeah,
I mean, I remember hitting people with the microphone and stuff like that.
You used
but the
to
lights
spit
were
on people.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like not on purpose, but
Well, you'd spit out into the audience. Where do you think it was going to go?
I was trying to spit on Chad.
He's trying to spit between people.
No,
he was
well,
aiming right between
so,
them.
So Chad's blind, right? I don't know if you guys have ever met Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Prex. He's blind. Like he's not like completely blind, but he's like 200, 400 vision. So like he can't tell Cash and I apart because we sound, especially back then, we sounded even more alike.
Yeah,
and
we don't
he
sound
could-
as much
He knew
like
you
now.
were the one that spit on him when he talked. That's
so
like
when I was in the
differentiated yourself.
this is before Cash was in the Fist. When I was in the Fist,
No, I was in the fist
and
in this
Chad
show.
Chad would be like he never tuned his guitar. He would bend the notes up to tune them, and so like he just like be like he wouldn't do he wouldn't play with us. It was like crazy noise.
It sounds like he kind of did it. He pulled it off.
But there would be times where he wasn't pulling it off.
Yeah.
So if like the song, and we never had like set songs or anything like that. We made up lyrics on the spot, things like that. So like Chad couldn't see me, I would be Isaac. It's changed now, Isaac change, Chad changing. Chad's like, huh? So like my way to get Chad to notice me was like this wasn't just one show. This was like for a year. So
hope
like
Chad
I would
is
just
deaf
spit
and
on
can't
him.
hear this
I'd be
either.
like, he knows it. He knows it.
oh, he absolutely knows.
I'd be like, I'd be back there, I'd go, and like spit on him, and he would know that was like the sign to change it.
That is not ADA compliant.
That's OSHA would really not be happy with that.
We're like a punk band. I mean, like
Yeah.
and we were all young, like things happen. So I just remember there was one particular show where Chad goes. And like he goes, like it's this really goofy look on his face, and right as I spit at him, he goes, like into his guitar, and it goes flying, and this like really young girl, like right on the front row. So,
and it was like you'd been sick the day before, so it was like green,
And the-
bright
and the-
green goober.
and the show
So it's
stopped.
suddenly it's a Toxic
the
Avenger
show instantly
movie.
stopped.
Yeah.
Like we stopped playing.
And she had baked a cake for us.
That's a
And then
different
she
show.
smashed it.
No,
show.
it's not.
And-
she had baked a cake for
And
us
I was
and brought
like,
it to the
I
show.
was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. keep in mind, I've always been the normal guy in every band I've been in, right?
Sounds like it.
So
no,
like,
you've always been the tyrant in every band you've been in.
well,
Yeah, self-proclaimed normal guy.
Proclaimed normal guy. But I mean, like, I
Because
worked.
I'm the normal one.
I worked a corporate job for 20 years. I, was a great student, like very usually reserved person, except for when I play. So like,
Then you go crazy and
then
spit
I go
on
crazy
young
and
girls.
spit on people, and then
Yeah.
and I'm like, what have I become? I felt like
Monster.
like the monster.
That
Don't
is-
look at me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was not a fun time. That was not a good
it
show.
was fun.
So you spit on the blind guy.
Yeah, but instead you spit on the young girl. Yeah.
Oh man, Chad, Chad got way
He
way
liked
less
it.
than he
he
gave.
he loved it when I spit on him.
No, Chad. I love Chad. Chad's like a
that
brother.
would be totally
but-
something he's into, man.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah. He. I'm sure he tells
He
that
does-
story
he-
with.
Glee.
Yes, absolutely.
Like he does things at his shows to make things more difficult. Like he'll have a drummer touring with him and refuse to let him play drums. Like, no, you cannot play drums. You have to play this chair and use it as a kick drum and use a cardboard box. And you're like, why are you doing that?
Like I'm going home now.
Yeah, your songs sound great.
He's gotten better as he's gotten older, but I used to say that Chad would have rather someone found his record in an actual garbage can covered in
Than buy it.
garbage,
Yeah, definitely.
than them buy it at a record store.
Yeah, keep in mind this is the dude that like his album release is that he put on his website a whole bunch of coordinates that you had to figure out that was where they were hidden, like around major cities.
Like-
so, like
I bet it sold like crazy.
oh, it sold like crazy, but it did get him on like NPR,
Yeah.
and written about in like the Washington Post,
He
and all
he
this
put
stuff.
out an album that was you could only get it through geocaching. You
Yeah.
had to find them.
It was really weird.
The irony of a blind man forcing people to find his record.
So this dude, like, he moved to South America and like got a license for a motorcycle.
Oh my God.
When he lived in South America, I don't know how, but he rode a motorcycle. He had like 200, 400 vision.
That is like, I would not want to live in that same city if with Chad with a motorcycle. Well, I mean, let's be fair. He always rode his bike around, and he did fine with that.
It's lower stakes,
thing.
man.
Lower stakes, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Wow.
Chad's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
He tours on Greyhound, like that's how he
In
tours.
America.
Yeah,
Other-
when he
in
goes
other
on
countries,
tour,
it's train.
he just straps his guitar to his back and everything in his backpack.
Actually, last time I see him, he didn't even take it.
The drummer didn't get to bring a drum set.
The last time I saw him, he didn't even bring a guitar. He brought his little Teenage Electronics keyboard that's like this
Oh,
big.
yeah.
And then
Those are neat.
And then he borrowed equipment from the bands he was playing with.
I bet they loved that. I'm just kidding. Maybe
He
they
said
did. I
so
don't know.
ahead
I
of
don't know.
time.
Yeah.
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 He also,
If you ask
he was
ahead of
also
time.
the first person I ever saw, and people have done this now, where he would go on Craigslist and hire a band for every city. Be like, hey,
Which
he
I'm
wants-
against. I'm totally
Yeah, I'm
against
totally
that.
against it too.
Because
but
it's not
people
hiring
have done
a
it
band.
now,
It's
but
like,
he's the
hey,
first
will
person
you
I ever
play
saw
this
do
show
it.
with me for free? You know.
No, he actually, if he made
Which
money,
is
he split it with them.
What's the Dresden?
Amanda
Dolls?
Palmer.
Yeah.
Mm.
She did that.
I'm playing a theater to 1,500 people. Can you play for free for me? And it's like, really?
After
Chad-
getting
Chad
like a
would split-
six-figure Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Chad actually
No,
split the
7
money with who he
Ooh.
played with. Like he was good about that. He would cut it. He would split it however many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the first person I remember doing that. I mean, Chad is very. I mean, everything we say about him, he's also one of the most talented musicians I've ever
It's really
met.
very foundational for both of us, though, also to be in bands with him.
Yeah.
Because it's such a different mindset of being in a band, having to deal with him, and to like figure out his brain to play in a band with.
Well, try
It's
being in a
like-
band with him and Chuck,
Yeah.
which I think made me the musician I am for sure. Being in a band with those guys, but it's not like being in a band with, I don't know, an average person. It's like being in a band with two people who communicate with clicks and whistles.
So,
you
so
know?
the other thing about
You wanna rock? You wanna roll? 'Cause what they gotta do? Gotta lose control. It's confidence, and everybody wants to do it the way they want.
All right, so like listening to your podcast, and Cash always kind of says like I toured in bands and stuff.
You did.
Yeah, but my experience is so different from everybody else's because I never did the. Like I said, I always had a corporate job.
So you just a few days at a time.
Yeah, I
you
do
mean?
a few days at a time. But the
Yeah.
other cool thing about that is like you guys talking about this agenda show where you would have like one great show and then you'd have 6 terrible shows.
Yeah.
And you can sustain yourself off that great show. Well, we were lucky because like every show
The shows
felt
were
like it was
worth it.
good
Good.
shows. Like we
Yeah.
didn't do those bad shows in between. Like we weren't playing like, you know, I don't know, some crappy town in Oklahoma. And,
We were.
You know, we didn't have to do that, but we did like make the 14-hour drive to New York and back in a weekend. You know,
Right.
it's like we would play Asbury Lanes, which was the coolest. I don't know if you guys ever played that place.
No.
That was not like you guys talk about coolest venues. Asbury Lanes was always the coolest venue, not only to us but for us. And we would play Asbury Lanes on a Friday and play New York City on a Saturday and come home to Jacksonville. You know, and those like ridiculous. that we
Yeah.
would do that, but it made that every show was awesome.
That's
you
the
know?
B-52's pylon model.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's what
kind of
they
did that
too.
because also from Jacksonville, we would do like Murfreesboro, Nashville, and then Chicago, and then home, which makes absolutely no sense. But we did it, you know.
Yeah.
Mostly it was close stuff, like we'd do, you know, things in Florida or whatever. But you know, my experiences, I had crazy things happen, but it was not like you all want to kill yourselves.
Like the
because-
desperation and the
Yeah.
weird, so you saw it from a different angle.
Yeah, we had the thing where like we would you know, stay at somebody's house that was nuts, but we didn't have like we're out on the road and all think we're going to die.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, maybe we came from a dark place with that.
Oh,
you did
no.
also. You did weirder touring
well,
too.
I did like a tour with like a DIY punk band, the Max Levine Ensemble, and like
Max Levine.
the Max Levine Ensemble. It was like,
That sounds like a klezmer band.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
That was
we started in high school, and it was named after one of our friends who was like, I believe, an anarchist at the time. And
Who
so
wasn't? It was high school.
It was like a pop punk band that got like increasingly more like political and socially aware, and it started doing the circuits, the like like the DIY punk rock,
basement circuit.
yeah, oh yeah,
Planet
yeah.
X Records, right?
Planet
that
X
stuff.
Records, all that, yeah. So
Bloomington.
and which is a completely different experience because I remember with the Agenda, it's like we had our $5 or $10 per diem. And having to make that stretch, the whole day was just like a nightmare. And trying to get the venues to feed us was a nightmare. And then, like on this tour with the Max Levine Ensemble, I was out for a month, and I paid for food, I think twice. And once
People would make you food. At the
Yeah,
Because
people
they
would
ate
make
out
us
of
food,
dumpsters.
and we legitimately one show somebody gave us like a big garbage bag full of bagels.
You guys,
Another
like,
one
were,
they
like,
gave you a
friggin-
crudely
Yeah,
drawn
yeah,
a
essentially-
crudely drawn map to a dumpster.
Yeah. Well, and this was like 2003 or 2004.
You
so
broke
this
it.
Was,
You broke it.
This was sort of peak Freegan
Break my
time
chair.
anyway.
No.
How's that chair doing?
Not so good.
Uh-oh.
Not so good.
That's a good chair. Don't break my chair.
I just leaned.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the other thing for us is like every time we were playing, our shows were all set up with the other bands. Like, I don't know of a time where we really set up shows with a venue because we'd set them up with other
Yeah.
bands, and so then that would friggin' rule. Like having to set up a show through a venue sucks.
Yeah.
But when you find a like-minded band, and it's usually because Cash and I had a really great experience with the local promoter who everybody else hates.
Well, he is an asshole.
Never to me.
Never to us.
But we had a really great experience with him, so he put us on every show that we wanted to be on. So we made all these connections and
Because we were willing to not get paid.
yes, but you know what local band?
Minor
What
technicality.
local band who are 16 should be getting paid?
Well, I mean, we can.
Most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we could get.
we weren't
into-
good. That's the other thing. That's the other caveat.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying this band shouldn't get paid, but the reason we made the connections was because Jason knew that he didn't have to pay us, so we opened for bands
we had
between
three
the two
bands.
of us.
Yeah,
At least, I think the bands like playing with us because Jason was notorious for not paying bands, and our deal was like, you don't have to pay us, but you have to pay them. If you want us to play with them, you don't have to pay us, but you have to pay them. And we'd always make that a thing. And both of our bands got to a point where, because we played so often, and we played open for all these bands, our fan base was fairly eclectic, so we did pretty well in our hometowns.
but then we also had a whole group of bands that we could call like, hey, you remember playing with us in Jacksonville? Can
Yeah.
you book us a show in
Yeah, exactly.
Nashville? You know, and like, and it was always a cool band that we would want to play with.
Right.
So the thing, even if the attendance sucked, you were at least playing with a band that you were excited to be playing with.
Right.
So.
And that
Yeah.
sort of automatically gives you a better chance of having a place to stay too.
Oh,
Whereas,
yeah.
like if you book a just through a venue, it's like you don't know a single person. In
That's the
town.
problem with having like the downside of having a booking agent book a tour, because you've never made any contacts there, and you get to the place, and then for one, the club promoter is generally trying to figure out a way to not do what they promised the booking agent
Right,
they
yeah.
would do.
Yeah.
So you have to sit there with the paper the whole time and like go over everything, which was always my job. But then you also don't know anyone to stay with. You're not going
Right.
to stay with the promoter because they were likely trying to screw you over.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but you guys have done European tours. Is it the same in Europe?
No, well, I mean, we did the UK
Yeah.
twice, and when we did that, it was amazing because it was just like our label guy went with us and rented a van with a driver.
So my
And-
friends who've done Europe, right? Like, I don't know what happened. I mean, America just sucks in a lot of ways in this regard, but like, usually
And in other regards right now.
The venues like usually have places for people to stay. They
Right.
cook people food. They take care of people better. And maybe the pay's not. I'm guessing the pay's probably better, but
I don't know. In the UK, I mean, anything that came in just went to the label booking guy to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like he like fed us and stuff. You know, and I think we got a per diem there, didn't we? I feel like I remember getting some. British money.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, it's funny the stark contrasts on your podcast and people that come in that have been a band for like eight or 9 months, and they're like, "Well, I went on this tour and we had a $20 per diem per day."
Yeah.
And then like, and you're like, "Who? Where did this happen? How did this?
Yeah,
happen?
how did
Like,
you get that?
you know?
Yeah.
And they're like 19, and you're like, you're like,
Yeah.
well, how did this happen? Because like even the people that I know that I think of as like successful in music, like first off, they didn't start that way,
Yeah.
and then maybe that's how they are now, right?
Right. I think there's a difference between, and you guys are making fun of me for saying kids these days earlier, but
What's the matter?
yeah,
with
what's the
kids
matter?
these
Kids
days?
No, but I do think there's a difference between now and back before the internet really blew up, and like bands started as a band. They probably were a band for a couple of years before they put out their first album. Then they started touring after a couple of years, and then they built this career that spanned
I think
several
that
albums.
Any band that's been a band for 2 years without touring is never going to tour.
Now, yes.
Even back then.
Well, I don't know, but now I feel like bands.
What if they decide to surprise you and go on tour?
but now
They're just going to go to Japan for 2 weeks for no reason.
Yeah, that was almost a month. But so then you know, like, but now it seems like bands form. They go on tour within a month, you know, of becoming a band. They put out an album within 6 months, and then they have one good album, and then you never hear from them again. You know what I mean? And it seems to happen a lot more these days.
Yeah, maybe. But so like, I don't know. Like the Monarchy 5 was all in the internet age. Like we booked all of our shows through MySpace, right? Yeah, MySpace.
Our Friendster.
No, it was post Friendster. It was all MySpace, and it ruled. But we never recorded. Like we never put anything out, and we were able to play wherever we wanted to. Anytime we wanted to set up a show, we were able to. I don't know how, but like I never wanted to waste time recording, which is, in retrospect, is the dumbest thing anybody's ever said. But like I'd rather play a show than record. And but I never had any delusions of grandeur that I was going to be like a rock and roll star
Until you were in the band The Delusionaires, and then it just was part of the name.
We were
It just
already
came with
were.
it.
Yeah,
It
no.
was-
That
that was a dad joke.
yes.
So speaking of dads and dad things, I got to take my daughter swimming. So I got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you.
I promised I'd take her swimming.
Yeah.
But so, you know, but this was great.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
None of this is usable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all deleted. Screw all this.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
This feels very anticlimactic.
Release it
Aren't you
backwards.
aren't you supposed to ask us like good restaurants in the cities we've been in?
Only if you don't.
Coolest venues.
Only if you don't talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only time we ever ask questions is when people don't talk.
Yeah.
Crazy road stories.
Well,
I got some
I think
weird
that people have it in
things,
their head they just have to talk about touring, and it is a tour story podcast. But we can talk about anything having to do with music, and it's fine. But then you have to be like, oh, so what did you do on your tour, and where did you eat on your tour, and you know.
And
Dumpsters.
Is there anything you want to tell us?
Is there anything
at
you
all?
want to tell us?
Is there anything you could say right now that would-
Anything to actually make yourself
that might be
interesting for guys.
a conversation? Any conversation? I'm not asking you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm done hearing from
All
you
right.
guys.
So,
You've heard
Denny,
enough.
where can we find you on the internet?
Yeah. Yeah. How do we find you on the internet? How do we stalk you?
I have no idea.
Are you
Oh,
on
man.
LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I
Everybody
knew it.
add Denny on LinkedIn. That's where you can
No,
find out what
don't
he's
add
up
me
to.
on LinkedIn. Those are like the people that know me that don't even know I'm in a band. What are you talking about?
Yeah. All band people flood Denny's LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
And
Denny Melvin
Seriously,
Carter.
I worked at a huge megalopolis mega national bank for 18 years, and probably for the first 12 to 13 years, nobody knew I was in bands.
Man,
And then I actually invited somebody to a show, and that was a huge mistake.
it all fell apart.
Gotta.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
spit on-
That was the
then I
little girl
spit
you
on
spit
her.
on.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah. Where do we find you, Matt?
My Venmo is at Matt Lewis.
If everybody who listened to this podcast sent $1,
Yeah.
you would
I
have
think-
like $10.
You're gonna have like $20.
Yeah, we can really
My
make
personal
a
Patreon.
change here.
By the way, people out there, go to our iTunes. I think it's load in, load out
Do you
/
normally
iTunes
do this?
or
I've never
iTunes.com
heard this
/
before.
load in, load out.
Never done this.
I've never done it before. Comment.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
even gone to the iTunes one, but you
You've
can
never
find
heard
it on
this
iTunes.
podcast.
Like, comment, share,
Subscribe.
subscribe. What else?
Subscribe.
Write a
what else they do?
review. That's
Write a
the most
review.
The
important.
best
We really
review
need
will get
reviews.
one of Cash's T-shirts. Maybe the one he won't give you the one he's wearing right now.
No, he wears
No.
that too often.
Although you probably should give that to them.
Why?
You've had it for a really long time.
Yeah,
You know,
I've had it since I saw him at CMJ
so,
97.
So you
I'm wearing a
you-
Daniel Johnson T-shirt from when I saw him when he
Yeah.
played 3 songs at CMJ and then ran off stage.
Little snug as well.
It's a King of the Media T-shirt.
What did you say?
No, I didn't say anything.
A little what?
It's a little
He said you're a little smug.
smug.
What? That's an interesting fact for people wanting this T-shirt. They need to know where they got it from.
That's actually not what he said. He said the shirt's a little smug.
Oh,
I mean,
the little
snug.
The shirt's a little snug.
So
He's a little smug.
You don't have to mention this part in the review.
Yeah, you could leave this part out of the review if you want to.
Have we talked about like what Brighton's nickname for me is?
no, what is your nickname for you? I don't know this.
We've said it on the
King of the
podcast
medium
before. I thought you
shirts?
listened.
King of the medium shirts.
Yeah,
I thought you were a listener.
because I wear tight shirts.
Yeah.
I don't think they're tight, but she thinks they are,
Yeah.
and she calls me King of the medium shirts.
A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah,
That's okay.
whatever.
You know, we can't all have shirts.
If
that
you
fit.
got a body like this, you got to show it off.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
What are you, a millionaire? You can't buy all new shirts.
That's right.
That's right.
Anyway.
Hey,
Anyway,
man, the ladies love it. LL
load in,
Cool
load
C.
out.
Yeah.
Comment, review,
Subscribe.
Like,
subscribe.
Send us free stuff for us to review on air. Things so we can unbox on our podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Send
You
us
guys gonna
toys
start an unboxing
an
YouTube
unboxing.
thing?
Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
when bands are on here and they're not talking, we just pull out boxes and start unboxing.
Hand them
things.
Japanese blind boxes
Dude,
to
yeah.
open.
Just the audio,
You
just
guys
the
are going to
crinkling.
end up
Yeah.
as millionaires from your unboxing account on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, it did occur to me that we've made 40 some hours of this podcast, 40 some episodes of this podcast, and we've made absolutely no attempt to connect to an audience, have metrics, have advertising. But I did use Squarespace to make our page. So if Squarespace wants to send me some money,
Yeah.
retroactively,
Squarespace.com.
yeah, I
Don't
think
do that.
Yeah, don't give it out for free.
Yeah.
They got to pay you for that.
Square. You'll have to pay me to hear the rest.
Yeah, yeah.
SquarePayMeSpace.com.
All right.
Yeah, if any mattresses are listening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mattresses.
Mattresses?
We don't have to
Yeah.
record this, but do your kids watch
What are you
those
talking
YouTube
about?
videos?
Mattresses?
Yeah,
What are
but not
mattresses?
anymore.
Did you block them from it?
Yeah, she's not allowed to anymore.
How old is she?
She's 6.5.
So was she watching the ones where they're like the LOL surprise toys, like the little balls, where they're like, "What LOL surprise am I going
Yeah.
to get today?" And they unwrap it, and it's like all this like garbagey gauze, and they're like,
Yeah.
"I got this little toy that looks like Beyonce."
Yeah.
and you're like, they have like 3 million views on that.
Yeah.
and like the
And
kids
those people
are
get
making
paid tons of money.
thousands of dollars a
Yeah,
month.
the adults that do it get
What-
paid
what-
tons
Yeah.
of money.
What's a mattress? What are you talking about?
What's a mattress? I don't know how you
That's
sleep.
his full name.
But
We're trying to get
That's his
advertisers.
full name.
Yeah, that is his full name. Mattress
Mattress
Lewis.
Lewis.
They do mattresses on. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't really hear
Casper,
mattress.
yeah. What's
Mattress.
Mattress Lewis.
advertisements.
that? Mattresses doc
Comes rolled up in a box.
biz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
internet mattresses.
I tried to. So I have a son named Simon, and I tried to get my wife to name him Max, and she was not. It was not flying because I thought his full name should be Maximum.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we had a cat named Max once.
Maximum Carter. I thought
Yeah.
would be a awesome
Maximum
name.
Cat was-
and my wife did not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was like, no.
I thought you were trying to get him to be named Winthrop,
He is named Winthrop.
his middle name.
Yeah.
But I thought you wanted his first name to be Winthrop.
No, I tried to. for
In the
Maximum.
Fist, we all have different names. I know we're Matt. Brian's got to go, but in the Fist, we have
It's
different
okay.
names.
I'll tell
Winthrop.
Poppy. I was like, you didn't need to go swimming. I had to find out how Denny and Cash's family was named.
Yeah.
I had to learn about that. I'm sorry we missed the pool, but all right.
Pools are suckers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Load In, Load Out, a tour story podcast produced by me, Bill Fortenberry. Our associate producer is Alex Scarborough. Our public service announcements were written by Matt Lewis and Lydia Brambilla, and our hosts are Ryan Lewis and Cash Carter. Feel like being helpful? Review, like, and share the show on iTunes to be all like, "Good job, guys, I really enjoy the show," and we'll be all like, "Thanks, listener, you seem like a really cool person who's nice to animals and old folks."